A Miss Dublin contestant has pulled out of the competition after she raised concerns over bizarre and outdated rules that require contestants to have never been married or have children. Blue Scannell made the finals of the beauty pageant, with the winner going on to compete in the Miss Ireland and possibly Miss World. But when the student midwife raised the issues with the rules that state entrants must be unmarried or never have been married and have never given birth to a child. Remember this came up with the Rose of Tralee going back a few years ago. She was told in an email that she would be better off withdrawing from the contest. Blue added that a number of sponsors she had secured when she entered the competition have since told her that they would not have backed her if they had known about these rules. Now, apart from that and the rules around these competitions, now those rules, as far as I know, don't apply to the Rose of Tralee now, but it's still the same. They say it's not a beauty pageant, but it kind of is. You know what I mean? Our beauty pageants, or the whole idea of embarrassing women and walking them across the stage and going, isn't she lovely, God bless her. I mean, I'm voting for her. This idea, and then sending her off to somewhere else around the world for a world competition where I don't think they do the swimsuits anymore. I think that went out years ago. Maybe they do, I don't know. Are those types of competitions, are they outdated? I mean, do you think those competitions are relevant in the world that we live in now in 2021 when people talk about equality and feminism and all that kind of thing? First of all, I wanted to get some first-hand experience of what it's like to win one of these competitions. Valerie Roe, the PR guru, joins me on the line, who many years ago, she told me not to say how many years ago in case you start guessing her age. But many years ago, I added another many
Stop
in.
dwelling on the many years ago. Just leave it at that and park that for now.
You did win Miss Ireland. A good few years ago.
And
anyway, first of all, when obviously you were young at the time. How old were you at the time when you entered it, by the way?
Doesn't matter.
I'm not only at the time. We won't be guessing your age by that. I mean, you were 18 or 19, were you at the time?
I was. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I was very young at the time.
And what made you want to enter a competition where you kind of, at that time, you would have been swanning around in swimwear and evening gowns and you had that?
You know what, Niall? I just fancied it. You know, it was such, obviously going back to your thing that many years ago, Miss World and Miss Universe, they were all on TV and there were big productions.
Oh, I remember Eric Morley or something, wasn't that his name?
Well, I didn't do Miss World, I did Miss Universe and Miss Europe, funny enough, so I wasn't involved in Miss World.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into the whole franchise.
I know, there was a whole complication that particular year that you won, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I just fancied doing it. I was working at the time out in Stogan Park, in a restaurant out there. It was kind of a buzzy place. And they were holding heats next door in the nightclub.
Right.
And somebody said to me, why don't you go in for it? And I just thought, yeah, sure, why not? Went up on stage, did a bit of an interview, won my heat, blah, blah, blah.
Did they ask you the question about if you won, what would you do? And you said you'd solve world peace. Did you?
I did, yeah. I said that all right, yeah. I don't think so. Me with my crimped hair, I wasn't really the stereotypical type even to be entering it. But nevertheless, look, it's a real glamour. It was a real glamorous thing. I loved doing my hair and doing my makeup. I loved, trying to find a nice dress. The swimwear thing didn't really bother me. They were full swimsuits. They weren't bikinis then. I didn't see anything wrong with it, to be honest.
Right, so you won.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won your heat, and then you went on to Miss Ireland, and you won that too.
I did.
And then you went on to Miss Universe.
Miss Universe in New York.
Okay,
yeah.
Now, so what was that year of your life? Was it, some girls describe it as a whirlwind, other girls describe it as being kind of owned by these organisations who run these things. I mean, what was that year like for you? Did you do well out of it?
You know, at the end of the day, I was also a singer as well, so I was kind of in that kind of space, that kind of showbizy space, and always wanted to be.
Am I allowed to say who you sang with, by the way?
Oh, go on, you're going to say it anyway, aren't you? Go on.
Valerie, in case people didn't know, Valerie sang with the Dooleys. Do you remember that song? Wanted, all I ever...
You and I sang that at one point.
Yeah, did in a nightclub,
so let's not go there.
Yeah. So Valerie sang with the Dooleys, a long time ago. Yeah, Jim Dooley, isn't it? Is that his name?
That was a lead singer. They were a family group. Anyway, I'm not getting into that now.
Okay, so you were a singer. Yeah, so you were kind of doing well for yourself in that department. But, I mean, in the year that you were in the Miss Universe, I mean, was it all being rushed off from city to city and having photographs taken?
No, it wasn't really that. I did do some personal appearances, yes, with my sash on and my crown on. I think I did some stuff for, country awards and all of bits and pieces like that. And then I went to the Miss Universe. Firstly, the franchise was owned by an English company, and there was England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. So I went to the UK. I did some protocols in the UK. Part of my prize was to get a designer dress from this mega designer at the time, Anthony Price, a bespoke dress made for me. And I made friends with Miss England and Scotland and Wales. So we kind of had a bond, the four of us. So we all went to New York together. And you know what? It was it was a great experience. Not the best experience I've ever had in my life.
Was there a lot of drink consumed?
Oh, no.
Oh, you weren't allowed. We watched all the time.
No. That was where I had the problem. You see, basically, you're put in a hotel. There's guards on every floor, and you have a schedule. Now, for the Miss Universe, they do a huge production. So every day you'd have to go down to a studio and you'd be choreographed. They'd pick out who were the best dancers, who were the best singers, who were the best with everything. And if you were good, you were put to the front. So I was able to dance. So I kind of was in rehearsals an awful lot more. Now, so you'd be whisked off, like the opening sort of titles you'd see, the girls were here, they were there, they were everywhere. They'd come in and they'd kind of say England, Scotland, and, Venezuela, whatever, onto the bus. And you'd be brought somewhere and you'd kind of look like you were having a great time. That would all be filmed and you'd be brought back. So every day you were based in the studio, and you rehearsed every day there. And at night time they rolled you out to different restaurants, different places to make public appearances, which I'm sure they got paid for. Mm-hmm. We were really tired. I found it a very tiring experience.
So essentially you were used.
Well, you know what? I didn't like that part of it. And funny enough, we weren't fed very well either. A couple of girls collapsed from lack of food. I don't think that would happen nowadays. It actually, at one point in the dance studios, they used to bring us in these kind of square boxes with Kentucky Fried Chicken, an apple and a drink every day. You got the same thing every day for your lunch. And I remember at one point all the girls were going, that's it, we're done with the chicken. So we all got our boxes and banged it off the floor going, no more chicken, no more chicken. So, I mean, so part of it was glamorous, it was good fun. I made lifelong friends out of it. And pretty much I enjoyed it. I had nothing really negative to say.
Now, the competition hasn't been without its controversies over the years. I mean, there's been many different controversies surrounding these competitions. I suppose at one stage then they got rid of the swimwear. They don't use the swimwear at all in the Miss World now, do they?
I don't think so. As I said, I didn't do Miss World. I think they still might do it in Miss Universe, but I stand to be corrected.
Okay, and there's another one, Miss Photogenic as well. There's that one too. That's another competition, isn't it?
No, they have Miss Photogenic basically in most of the competitions. Like Miss Universe would have Miss Photogenic. I did Miss Europe, and I won Miss Photogenic. That's all the photographers who follow you around for the couple of weeks you're competing. They decide which model is the most photogenic, and I won that actually, and the Miss Europe, I won Miss Photogenic for that.
And what year was that for? No, okay, I'm joking. Okay. No, and also, of course, then we have the Irish one, which is the Rose of Tralee, which is not quite the same thing, right? Mind you, it is still only for women, so it is kind of, I mean, people do look at them to see, she's a good-looking woman, God bless her, and all that kind of thing. So, but I
think that Rose of Tralee is like one of those things that's been around for years. It's all about personality, a little bit of singing. I think it's just one of those.
Do you watch it?
Well, I do watch it. My partner Dennis loves it, and has watched it for years and years. And it's just one of those competitions. I think it's lovely and it's harmless, and the girls are great, and you get to sing or dance, whatever it is you do.
It's mortifying. Is it not mortifying? Here's Miss Chicago. She's going to do a little Irish dance on the stage. God bless her. Look at her. She's going to make a basket.
If you don't like it. You know what I mean? It's simple as that.
Okay, but let's look at the other competitions. The Miss Irelands and the Miss, County Meath and Dublin and all. These competitions, are they a little bit outdated? Feminists claim that it's objectifying women. Do you think it objectifies women?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Like, that's just, I'm only giving you my opinion. Like,
of course,
I'm not saying I'm wrong or I'm right. Look, I did it because I enjoyed the glamorous part of it. I loved getting dressed up. I didn't mind walking out in my swimsuit. I mean,
nobody forced you to do it. In other words, is the point you're making.
No one forced me to do it whatsoever. And for some people, it elevates them into the modelling world. It's a bit like, I suppose, X Factor nowadays. You go on a competition to get you seen, to get you heard, to up your profile, maybe to get a record deal. And years ago in Ireland, you did the Eurovision to give you that elevation. If you wanted to be a model, you did Miss Ireland because that's the kind of career that you wanted. So, I mean, there were means to an end.
Is it time they kind of changed the rules? Because this girl during the week, she was complaining about the fact that the rules state that and which have always been the rules, by the way, that you can't be married or have given birth to a child. Do you think it's time they kind of change those rules?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's very outdated. But years ago, we were living in a different Ireland, and I'm not going to go back over all the mother and baby homes and all of that stuff. Like, Ireland was a very different place. And
because women who didn't have babies were seen as virtuous and wonderful and beautiful.
Yeah, that's just, I'm not even going to go there, Niall. Don't even start me on that. But yes, it was a different world then than it is now. But I do think they need to change the rules, of course.
Yeah, well, they did change them in the Rose of Tralee going back a while ago. Although I think the Rose of Tralee, you still have to be single, don't you? I don't know, maybe I think you can have a baby. No, somebody's saying... You just
No, I
have to
don't
be under
know about
30. Just under 30, I think it is. Yeah, they changed the rules substantially. But of course, the Miss World is kind of still the same, and the Miss Ireland and all that. You still have to not have given birth to a baby or not have been married, which I think everybody agrees it's probably time those
You know
rules.
what it is too? It's, if anyone wants to go into the modelling world, or even just for confidence, to actually put yourself out there and like even to speak on a stage on a microphone and be interviewed and talk about things, it's good for you. If that's the kind of business you want to go into, you know, it'll do you no harm at all.
Yeah. Well, listen, Valerie, lovely talking to you again. Thanks very much indeed. You're an inspiration to so many people out there who want to go into modelling. No,
Sure. Right.
Thanks, Valerie. Lovely talking to you. There you go. Valerie Roe, PR guru, and also a Miss, not a Miss World, a Miss Universe at one stage. Or so to say, she went into the Miss Universe competition. Miss Ireland at one stage went into the Miss Universe competition. Knows all about the competition. That's a very interesting insight, actually, to hear about the fact about how they were fed, etc., etc. Somebody says men can enter now as well. Trans men. Well, I think, by the way, you're saying wait till that happens. I think that's already happened, by the way. There already have been transgenders in the Miss World competition, who were men, but are now women. That's already happened. Wasn't Miss Canada, I think, was one of the big ones, wasn't it? Famous ones over the years. Miss Canada was formerly a man and is now a woman. Yeah. Do you believe the competition itself, but the idea of parading women around, you know, in a dress and going, oh, isn't she, look at her, isn't she beautiful? She's a bit of a big bum all the same, hasn't she? God bless her.